Alright guys, Tactical here again today, and we have a fair few things to talk about before we get into the Pro League, as we have the last few days. These are a very busy few days of action for Call of Duty, and potentially a very lucrative few days, because the next Call of Duty is going to be revealed, and apparently it's going to switch up what we expect very significantly. But of course, we hear this every year. Of course, on the other side of things, we have the Optic Gaming stuff, which on the May the 31st, it's supposed to be finalize the deal, selling Infinite Esports to Immortals, and then we'll just have to see what happens with the Optic team from there, which we've talked about over the last few days. So yeah, like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, and I'm sure you will. And yeah, here we go. So firstly, today actually is the day where Modern Warfare Call of Duty 2019 is supposed to be revealed to the public. I think the date is 10 PM Pacific time, which is 1 PM Eastern time and 6 PM my time. So it'll be 5 hours after this video goes live that you will be able to watch the reveal. Now, this I think is an image of the reveal. Here we go. So May 30th. Okay, nothing really much to say here. I didn't want to put too many of the pictures on here other than the ones that Charlie Intel had used, because I was a little bit worried that Activision might hit me with the strike. So I'm not going to show any more than that, but pretty much a lot of people have been saying that things are going to change significantly with the onset of this game. Now, I don't know how much we're going to get today. People haven't really been saying what these kind of major changes will be, but pretty sure I can attest that there will be some which will be relatively significant, at least for competitive play, because we know that this year is franchising. We know that Activision has got to be very keen on competitive play for this year of Call of Duty. What will change exactly is unknown, but I remember there was a rumor a while ago, I made a video on it at the time, that Call of Duty could potentially be moving to PC in terms of the competitive scene. Now, this would likely be the competitive scene still with controllers being used, because that's what they do in NBA 2K, and I think maybe Rocket League as well, but I'm not 100% sure. They play on the PC, but with controllers. So I think that would be the same case in Call of Duty. I wouldn't put it completely past Activision to completely overhaul everything, but I don't think it will do that. And we got this yesterday, that Modern Warfare, from sources, will not have PlayStation exclusivity rights, which it has done for the past few years, where PlayStation gets DLC early and stuff like that. So obviously a lot of people are talking about, wow, Xbox get the DLC at the same time, all this stuff, but obviously it also adds to the potential rumour that the game might even move to PC, and those exclusivity rights, it's no longer going to be sponsored by PlayStation, for the competitive side of things. We also have this comment from Ragone15 on a COD Burner post. Just thought I'd run through this, and because it kind of outlines what we're going to see over the next couple of days. So something big is happening tomorrow, which is today. Several insiders and trusted leakers have spoken about Modern Warfare changing up the series completely from a competitive aspect. The reveal is scheduled at 10 AM Pacific. Rich Guy in Dallas is 30 minutes away from the Optic offices. Immortals buy it as the deadline is 31st. Apoc, an absolute legend in the scene. He says the industry is going to be changed for the better just today, which may not be the Optic stuff, which may be the Modern Warfare stuff and how all that's going to go down. So it's rather exciting. Of course, it's pretty depressing the way the Optic stuff is happening, but at least something is happening. Okay, so moving on from that real quick before we get into the league, we have this coming out yesterday, the Nick Merckx stuff with Nadeshot. I thought I'd just touch on this because it's been talked about a lot with Nick Merckx leaving 100 Thieves. And it was highly rumoured that maybe Nadeshot had offered Nick Merckx a stake in 100 Thieves as an organisation and then hadn't exactly delivered on his promise. So yeah, this seems to be the situation. Apparently Nade had offered Nick Merckx a 5% equity in the company, but when investors came in, the contract they gave was substantially less. So look, I don't know whether this is Nadeshot. Of course, this is just a verbal agreement. It's possible that a verbal agreement could be upheld if it was in words, I guess, in like a text message or something like that. Then it would be possible to uphold. But if it's just word of mouth, then there's no chance really. But at the same time, whether this is Nadeshot deliberately making a decision to like screw over, and not really screw over, because I guess the company was growing much more than he expected when it initially started. So he felt like 5% stake wasn't necessarily justified. Of course, if it was Nadeshot deciding this rather than the investors saying, yeah, we can't afford that, like we can't give 5% to this guy, then it's just I guess it's just business, but yeah, unfortunate Nick Merckx has left, but that's just how the situation is. So I thought I would bring that up for you guys. Forbes has valued 100 Thieves at $100 million. Nature is balling out of control. Okay, so let's get on with the league here. Game 1 was Denial versus Elevate. A 3-1 for Elevate here. And impressive, really, because game 1 Hacienda, Denial dominated it. Joe went off, all the cylinders were firing, and I predicted Denial to win this series, so I was pretty happy to see that. But then Elevate do it again. Yesterday against, who did they play yesterday? They were up against Splice, of course. They went down 2-0, came back to win the series in a verse sweep fashion, and they do it again, but they don't even have to lose game 2 in order to accomplish it. So game 2 was pretty back and forth. It went all the way to around 11, and Skies, man, he just crushed it. Like, he got 17 kills, he got a 1v3 that I'll put on screen at one point here, and yeah, went all the way around to around 11, and this is just classic, really, from Denial and, well, at least the Red Reserve core, I guess, of Rated, Vance and Joe. I feel like always with them, they'll win game 1, then game 2, they'll choke it in some fashion, and then game 3, they pretty much choked it as well. There was a round they definitely should have won to take this control. Skies goes off again, 30 kills, and then from there, Denial kind of lose full, but at the same time, Elevate are really, really good on frequency hardpoint. I'm pretty sure that was the map that they 80-point club Splice on yesterday. So they just dominate it again. Breezy, 1.9 KD, 36 kills, like just absolutely nuts stuff from him. And yeah, this Elevate team looking surprisingly nasty. Of course, you know, unfortunate for Denial the way they lost those map 2 and 3. But if they didn't do that, maybe they take the series. But at the same time, Elevate still being very competitive. And be very interesting to see this team up against some other top teams, because they're looking really rather dangerous right now. And that Sky's 1v3 and the kind of levels he's putting up now, which he wasn't doing earlier in the season, very deadly. So these are the KDs in each game mode over the course of the series. And yeah, look at this. In this Search and Destroy, no one else does particularly well, but Sky's 3.4 KD. What more can you ask? Series 2 of the day was Enigma 6 versus Heretics. And this went not as I expected it to. I did think Enigma 6 were going to win. But, well, I mean, Heretics played very, very well the first couple of maps. Jelly did very well map number 1, but it wasn't to be on Hacienda. Arsenal Search and Destroy once again comfortable in favour of Heretics. But then Enigma 6 kind of brought it back. Kismet had a fantastic control game, again, just like he did yesterday. Did really well in the gridlock as well. And actually, that map 4 was crazy. Heretics nearly came back and won it. But yeah, honestly, pretty impressive composure and clutch factor from Enigma 6. I've always felt that's something of an issue with European teams more generally. Used to be a massive issue with UK teams. Still is to some degree. Like composure and clutching up games. I feel like still with Heretics, there's an element to which when the going gets tough, they're not always... I'm not always going to predict them, put it that way. Maybe in a year's time, they'll be more in that situation of having more experience in the clutch. And I was impressed with Enigma 6 to close that one out. And then game 5 again, General went off this final map and Lucky hit a ridiculous no-scope, but it wasn't to be. And yeah, a few good rounds from Enigma 6, to be honest. A lot of action over at that B-bomb site, and Heretics just couldn't really do much about it. So yeah, 3-2 reverse sweep for Enigma 6, who were 3-10 at the time, so they've done rather well. And yeah, Heretics losing this series today. I have to see how it goes for them going forwards. I'll reveal at the end of the video, of course, which games are going on tonight. So series 3 of the day was, well, another one. These are the scoreboards, so... yeah, just feast your eyes on it real quick. General had a great series, all things considered. Let's move on to the next series. We have Splice versus United. And, well, I guess this kind of went as expected. I don't think a lot of people expected Splice to get completely 3-0'd. I thought that they'd have the talent to win one map. And that's the thing when you've got Temp on your team, man, because this guy is actually unreal. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing from him at times. The fact that they lose map 1, 250 to 206, he drops 29 kills with a 1.8 KD. His teammates are just nowhere to be seen. 5,500 damage out of your guy Temp. And then game 2, Gridlock Search. Clay goes off again on Gridlock. Pretty impressive, to be honest. His search has been really, really good. It's nice, as I said yesterday, that he doesn't have to have the sniper in hand, because when he doesn't, when Sim can use it, then it lets Clay actually roam with the Maddox and catch some really, really nice timings. They usually have Clay, the one that's playing like the late flanks after the plants. I think teams should really watch out for that more, because he seems to do it a lot, but it works out to their favour. And then game 3, the vibes were not really there for Splice, but Temp just went off. What more can you say? 5,000 damage in a ridiculously quick 3-0 control. Yeah, I mean, he just crushed it, got streaks, all that good stuff. And then game 4, he started super strong as well. I think United went up really heavy early on in game 4, and then Temp just went on a tear. He was like 5-8 or something, and then went on a streak to go 10-9, and then went like 15-10. It just wasn't missing bullets. He ends up game 4 with a ridiculous stat line, but so does Simp, who turns it around towards the end of the game. He gets streaks as well. And I mean, it's got to be tough when you're Temp, isn't it? When you're just basically just Mr. Do-It-All, and it's not really too much teammate support this series. Now, I think that Splice will probably make a change come post Anaheim, unless they do particularly well. But I doubt that's going to happen. And yeah, United once again close out this series. Pretty much what's expected. Splice, not in the best state right now for any means. And I feel like Temp's got his eyes on maybe some other teams to move to, because right now he's playing way too well to be stuck on a team that hasn't been too competitive as of late. Of course, they have made 2 grand finals over the course of the year, but yeah, as of late haven't been so good. So yeah, these are the final standings. I mean, Temp has a 1 point, like, these stat lines are just absolutely ridiculous for the Search and Destroy. We can't see the overall kills on this, but it's okay. This is the K Series Plus stat, which is quite interesting. So if it extended the series to every single round and game was played effectively, this is the amount of kills the player would have. So this maybe is a better representation than the overall kills, because it just stretches the series out to its limit. So Temp would have been breaching nearly 100, which is quite remarkable. So yeah, the final series of the day, 100 Thieves versus Team Envious. And this was a crazy one because, I mean, I was expecting this to be a pretty close series. I thought it'd maybe go game 5 and 100 Thieves would take it. But wow, this game 1, man, it was so back and forth. It's such exciting Call of Duty to watch. Very impressed with Envy, to be honest, on the whole, because I do think that 100 Thieves are a straight filthy team. And Envy have improved a lot. I really like this new squad, especially after their first day loss to Denial. They do seem to have turned it around a lot. But this game 1, oh my word, Envy had it in the bag. They'd made the comeback. It looked like they were on for it. It was on that classic middle hill, and then I mean, I'll put the clip on screen even, and they have a perfect chance to close it out. And then all the gunfights that you can't lose, they managed to lose. 100 Thieves get in the hill and close it. Just completely stole that one away from Envy. And then game 2. Oh my word. Envy got 5-1. This has been Envy's downfall earlier on in the season, has been their Search and Destroy poor performances, I guess. And they go up 5-1 in this. And slowly 100 Thieves bring it back. Kenny's going off. Kenny gets full streaks. It goes to 5-4. Goes to 5-5. And then, 100 Thieves win it. And just devastating, really, for Envy, how you throw away both map 1 and 2. Just absolute chokes galore all over the place. And yeah, and then the game 3 control just wasn't particularly close, and they did really, really well. There was a couple of rounds that Envy could have been in it, but I mean, 100 Thieves, nasty control team. And of course, at that point, when you've thrown away map 1 and 2, you're not expecting, in your own psyche, you're not thinking, wow, okay, let's go, we can reverse sweep these guys. You're thinking, damn, what could have been, So yeah, that was the series. Impressive stuff from 100 Thieves once again. 3-0 over Envy is good stuff. Of course, they're solidifying their spot right at the top here, up there with the United. And yeah, Envy, a difficult series to lose from them, but hopefully we'll see them bounce back. They're still in a decent spot for the league, and definitely playing a lot better Call of Duty than a lot of teams are in this division right now. So yeah, these are the final standings over the course of the K series. No one's breaking 100 quite, but we've got Hook on 99.5, who really did crush it a couple of maps this series for the 3-0 defeat, of course. But I mean, like, obviously it was very close. So we had a lot of people putting up a lot of different kills, and 100 Thieves take it 3-0, but probably a little bit flattering in their regard. So these are tonight's matches. Enigma 6 Elevators first up, which is an interesting one considering Enigma 6 just beat Heretics, but I guess I'm just going to go Elevate now because apparently they're nasty. Splice Denial is interesting. This is a tough one to call for me. I don't know what to say particularly. I think maybe I'm going to favour Denial, I'm not sure, because Elevate beat Splice, Elevate beat Denial. It's tough. I guess the favourites say I should pick Splice. They can't be losing all of their series, surely. But Denial, I guess, do need the victory more than Splice. So maybe I'll slightly favour them, but but I've picked Denal a few times now and it hasn't worked out for me. So 100 Thieves versus Heretics should be pretty obvious for 100 Thieves. And then E United Envy is a very fun series to close out the week. I'm tempted to say Envy, but I'm really not sure why. I think that both these teams are very good right now. Actually, no. E United did 3-0 Envy at London, so I think I'm just going to go with history, because usually when I do that, it works out quite well. So ignore my early prediction. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new as always. Leave all your thoughts on all this stuff that I talked about today down in the comment section below, as I'm sure you will. Thank you guys so much for watching, as always, and I will see you next time.